Good afternoon, everyone. It's Jasmine Nicole. As you guys all know, that many of us have dealt with rejection and overcoming rejection when it comes to helping people with their health and fitness. So today I set up a special training call with one of the women in my life who actually inspires me to continue to keep pushing on. So let me take a moment to introduce LaToya Rene. She is actually one of the women in my life who was brought into my life by my husband. She's actually his cousin. She speaks at a number of great conventions as well as motivational speaking at universities to help those college students to continue to keep pushing and pursuing their dreams. It could be in music, it could be in film, it can be in the business arena, but I felt that she would be the perfect person to come speak to each and every one of you guys today to actually give you that momentum to keep pushing forward, because we all have lives that we need to save and we all have people that we need to touch and inspire. So with that being said, let me introduce LaToya Rene, as she's going to talk to us this afternoon about overcoming rejection as well as moving forward within your business.
All right. Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. I don't know how I'm going to match up to what you said. I don't feel like I accomplished all those things, but I guess I actually did. I mean, I have the resume to prove it. So I guess to get started, I've always been in sales. So in sales in some form or fashion. So first it started out with candy. Like everybody sold candy in high school. So I started there. And that's when I first started thinking about sales in a very different way. But we'll get back to that. So I started out with candy. Then I have a love and passion for music, which I really started to truly discover that when I got into college. And when I expressed that to my family, they weren't really on board. They weren't excited about that because, of course, when people think about music, they think about the broke, starving artist. So I said, well, let me see what that's about, and let me just pursue it because it's what I love. It brings me joy. So in doing that, I had lots of ups and I had lots of downs. I had some yeses and some nos. I say probably the nos were the most devastating, and the yeses, they pushed me to keep going. So throughout that, I learned so much about myself as a salesperson, as an individual, and just as people, as they are buyers and consumers. So when I first started selling music and selling shows, like people always say they love my music, they would love an album, they would love this, they would love that. And when I started pushing those things, they said they love the music. However, it was always tough to get the sale for either for a show or for an album or things of that nature. And I was so confused because here these people are saying that they love my music. They love live shows. They want me to make music and they want me to do well. So they're four things that they're telling me that they want. But then whenever I would produce an album or would have a show, either they wouldn't buy the album or they wouldn't come to the show. But that was completely contradictory to what they said. So then I said, all right, so what is the problem here? What am I missing? What exactly are they buying? What exactly are they looking for? So it started to get me thinking back to those candy days and what exactly were they buying when they were buying candy from me? So when they bought candy from me, they weren't just buying candy. So think about when you're at let's say you're at a hospital, you've been there all night. You go to a vending machine. The candy costs $2. You know good and well that candy is not going to be great. You know that you can buy a candy bar cheaper somewhere else. So what are you buying? Are you buying the candy bar or are you buying the convenience? Are you buying the solution? Typically, when you put the $2 in and you get that old candy bar that you know you could have got for $1 elsewhere, you realize you were buying convenience. You were buying the solution. The same thing goes for those music clients. I realized, okay, so I need to find people who are looking for the solution that I'm offering. So instead of me just blanketly trying to sell music and sell those things, I said, all right, so where do people go to buy music? Where do people go to book artists? Or what people are currently booking artists? So I looked online and I found all these venues, all these places that book live artists. And all of a sudden, I noticed that my conversion rate or my sales, they started to go up. So I went from maybe booking a show here and there to booking 150 date tours for myself, for my artists, booking tours overseas. Like I've even performed in Italy. Like before I was getting like, maybe we can't have you to, hey, we want you to sing here at Italy, in Florence, Italy. That's a vast difference from the two. But the difference between that was I was just doing a blanket offering because people were saying these things versus looking for people who actually had those solutions. So that was one thing. The next thing was, before, when I was getting that rejection, I was always taking it extremely personal. Every time someone said no, I felt like it was a shot to my heart, because here they were. They told me that they love live music. They like music that was like artists like me. And they love to see me perform, but they weren't ready to book me for whatever reason. So I would always take it so personal. Then I realized that, it's really not personal. It's a numbers game. So for whatever reason, at that moment in time, that particular person, they can't book that at that moment, or they can't purchase it. So either one of two things: either my product didn't meet their needs, or they didn't have the money to do that. So those were the things that I never thought to ask before, never even thought to consider, but I took it personally. So then I said, all right, so let me focus in on this numbers game, because it truly is a numbers game. If I cold call 100 people, then I would get about a 20% return on that. Now, of course, again, that's a numbers game. That's a lot of people to call. However, that's a cold call. Something else that I noticed was that people who know me and who have a relationship of some sort, the conversion rate was a lot higher. So between 50 to 75% of people who know me and already know and seen what I've done and are also looking for that solution are more likely to purchase whatever it is that I'm offering than not. Let's see, what else did I learn? Again, it's not personal, it's business. So the moment that you get that through your head, then that's that. Two, people afford what they can afford, what they choose and find value in. And then, so something that used to always bother me was someone who would say, they would come to me saying they want my music services. And I would tell them my rates. Then all of a sudden, they can't afford it. Then I would see them in the club, or I would see them buying this, or I would see them buying that. And I'm like, you said you couldn't afford my services, but all these things cost more. Then I took a moment to realize it in my own life. On occasion, like I live it up quite a bit just through all of my relationships and connections, but I'm not paying for all of that either. So again, it's not business, it's not personal, it's business. So for example, recently I was at a Celtics game with, $300 tickets. I was in the VIP meeting all the Celtics players. I didn't pay for those tickets, but if someone else saw that, they would have thought that I had that money for that. Same thing for those clients that told me no. They might not have purchased that. So again, it's not personal, it's business. So just taking a few of those things in my own personal experiences. One, it's a numbers game. So you have to have those numbers in order to do that. Don't take the rejection personal, because it's really not about you. 3, where are you selling those things? Are you reaching out to people who are looking for your solution, who are already looking? Because you're looking to change lives, but you're not looking to convince them to change their life. Because when I was 289 pounds, and I was running around looking like the Michelin Man, during that time I was overweight. My family was telling me I was overweight, and I'm still a little bit overweight, but I was more jolly like. But at that time, when people were telling me these things, I wasn't ready to hear that. I wasn't at that point. I was just happy being me, happy eating cakes and cookies and whatnot. But the moment that I was ready and looking for a solution, when I was hunting for that solution, my life changed. I was much more willing to make those kinds of investments in myself. So a few of those things, you got to look for people who are looking for the solution, or who's already investing in that solution, who maybe they're not finding the right thing for them. And something else that I realized, it doesn't happen overnight. Once you find that specific area and that niche, and understand, okay, well, am I looking for people who need my solution? Yes. Once you have that, then next, have I built a real relationship with them, a genuine relationship? Because these people that you're selling to, yes, they might be looking to lose weight, but before they're looking to lose weight, they're someone's son or daughter. They're someone's husband or wife, their mother or father, their friend and a confidant. Connect with them on that level. And if you can connect with them on that level, you can make a sale anytime. So I went from, I guess, mixed long story, short story after a long story. I went from lots of rejections and having to make the decision in the grocery store of, do I buy these groceries or do I pay my lights, to getting $1,500 checks every time I go to speak. So like just this week, I spoke in the past week alone, I've spoken 7 times, and I want to say only one of them was like a free gig. But the kind of checks that I get now are like, hold on, can you see this? Can you see the number? So this is real. So this is real stuff. So, and I share that not to say, all right, I'm balling out of control because I'm not, I got bills, but I share that to say, once you get past yourself and realize some of these core things, that one, it's not business, it's personal. Then understanding where to make the personal connections so that you can make business happen. And then getting out of your own way, because sometimes we have a tendency to do that. And I guess the last thing also is getting out of your own way. So sometimes we try to force something that we think is going to work, but there's something else that's pushing its way to work for you. So for example, at one point I was trying to perform quite a bit, like dance moves, dance tracks. I can't really do much past this, right? So there's no reason why someone would book me for a show that requires dance music. Where I found my niche was creating music for television and film. So some of my clients, their networks are BET, MTV, NBC, True TV, and like some of the television shows that my music is on are Demi Lovato's MTV Moments, Paranormal Survivor, Last Call with Carson Daly, ESPN Highlights. So it's just like various things that I had to find my way and had to find my niche. What's the thing that works for me? And then also, where am I excited and enthusiastic about? Because people sense that. So people are ready to buy my music because I'm in there talking about, yeah, do you hear that string? Do you hear where that accentuates this particular emotion in the show? Usually when that happens, that person gets excited too because of the results, the solution that I'm offering, the solution that I am equally excited about and that I'm naturally talented to provide as well. So in general, though, those are some of the things that I've had to deal with in order to kind of get past my own rejection. But I feel like the best way that we can actually come up with solutions today on this is if we have maybe some questions and some answers. Because yes, I've told you my story and how I've gotten past that. But you guys aren't selling music. You're not selling motivation. What you guys are selling are health solutions. So I would like to hear from you guys. What are some of the challenges that you experience, and what are some of the rejection points that you're trying to get past?
Okay, so a lot of the rejections that I know that a lot of my teammates have encountered have been the price. And I do understand that most people would not see the value of the challenge pack or the Shakeology that we're trying to introduce them to unless they truly have that personal connection to, or they see the value in that particular product. So how can a coach or a team member get around that? Because I know for me personally, I can always talk about how I see the value in all of that, but it's a matter of how do we get our clients or how do we get our customers to see the value in what we're offering? Because it is a solution. It's a cheaper solution than the medical bills. It's a cheaper solution than the prescription medication. It's a cheaper solution than paying a personal trainer up to $150 per session.
Okay. So one, you have to help them to see the value. So there's that. Again, making it real to them, because sometimes it's not real to them, but they see that very real cost, which is more than likely it's an upfront cost for your products, correct?
That is correct.
So they see that upfront cost. However, they don't see that upfront bill because they probably haven't gotten sick yet. And if they haven't gotten sick, they can't compute that. So sometimes it's about making it real to them and having a very real conversation. Another point in that is also, how are you qualifying your customers? Because that's also huge as well. Because you can't go to someone who, if you hear them always talking about, man, I just need $5 to put into my tank so I can get up the street to work, and I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul. If they're doing that in their regular life, they don't have the money for anything extra. So now it's about, how are you qualifying your customers? Are you going to people who can afford your product? Because what you're offering now, yes, it's a health solution, but to them, if they need $5 to put in their tank or to rob Peter to pay Paul, they can't afford it. To them, that's a luxury, even though we know that it's a necessity. Your health is a necessity. So then it's a matter of, where are you going for your clients? And where are you forging and building those relationships to get those clients?
So in regards to the relationship building, I know a lot of people, we tend to focus on our warm market per se. And that's because those are the people that we built our relationships with. It could be friends from high school, friends from college. It can be family members, or it can just, some of those warm markets can even just be our spouse that try to help them see results too.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think a customer, not a customer, but a coach who this is brand new for them can really, I guess, connect with that person on that aspect of this is what they're doing to try to better themselves, but also to better the people around them, if that makes any sense?
Now, are you talking about their core, like the folks, their friends and family, or finding new
Yes,
people?
your warm market is pretty much your friends, your families, your coworkers. Your cold market are people you really do not absolutely know. You don't have any type of relationship with, and then you're kind of gonna have to take that time to really build that relationship with to actually get to know them.
Okay. The biggest thing for friends and family, for your warm market, as you have called it, is getting them excited. So how do you get them excited? Most people, if you tell them, it goes in one ear and out the other. Great. Yay. You're doing great for yourself. Good luck. The way that you get them excited is you produce results within yourself, and you show the change in your life, because people, they're excited to change. When they see change, when they see results, that's when all of a sudden they start to get excited and they start to get motivated. Now, they may not act immediately because they see the results, but then like, is this a fluke? Is this real? Like, look, let me see some sustained results. So they might not act immediately. It might take them a month or two. Like, for example, for my music, it took, I want to say, maybe 3 or 4 of my postings of some of the big deals that I was putting together, for someone to ever reach out to me to say, hey, I want you to consult me on how to really break it into this music industry, because I see that you're making it happen. Like, you're actually doing real things. The first time I thought it was just, you knew somebody who knew somebody and it was just luck. But I see that you're actually talented and you're really doing this. I want to do it too. So one is just simply the results, enjoying what you do, and maybe not even trying to sell to them. Of course, you want to mention it when you can, because you're a salesperson, but simply being excited about what you do and being genuine about it. People, they feel that and they feed off of it. And that would be the first step.
So I know another way that a lot of our coaches try to reach other people is through free groups. Me personally, for my team, I do host free groups because it is about building those connections. It's also about allowing that person to actually see those small results from the very beginning without having to buy our products, and also learn that, yes, they're going to get that support, that once they actually do buy either the Shakeology or they buy the challenge packs, that the results are probably going to be expedited, if that's the correct word for that. But we do have those free groups to try to build those relationships to a certain extent. In your opinion, do you think that should be a continuous method of doing that, or should we offer more than just the free groups?
I believe you should offer more than just the free groups.
Okay.
So one of the ways that I get a lot of success are, first, my interpersonal interactions. So the people who have met me in real life, who have interacted with me, and they know my energy, and they know some of my humor, and they've decided to add me on Facebook. So those people who have met me are the people who engage with me the most, who share my information the most, who tell their friends the most. So if you can engage with them face to face, at least one time, and then connect with them via social media, your impact is going to be much greater than if you just connect with some stranger that's online that just knows you through a friend of a friend. So now when I post something, if it's, whether it be funny, whether it be inspirational, whether it be whatever, I at minimum get 30 people to actively engage. Regardless of that, probably about 200 to 300 people see whatever it is that I'm doing. And again, a lot of that comes from, these are personal interactions. These aren't just random people that I've added somewhere. So if there's a way that you can meet these people face to face, so maybe even if you're local and these people are your friends on Facebook, say, hey, you know what, we're going to have this random social Shakeology event. And I would just love to meet you guys, or just talk to you guys and see what are your fears, what are your challenges, and just connect with them on that real level. That will improve engagement. That will also increase their trust in you, because sales, of course, the ABC of sales is get them to like you. So you sell yourself first, then you sell the product, then you sell the brand. So you sell yourself because they got to like you first. They're not going to buy from you if they don't like you. And it could be anything. Like you could be selling them dirt. If they like you, they'll buy that dirt. Two, then you sell the product. So after you've gotten them excited about who you are, they're much more willing to listen to you about that product. Like, for example, I was invited to go speak to a bunch of seventh graders, so about 3,000 seventh graders. The superintendent was there. I was trying to set up a meeting with her to pitch my book, The College Cheat Sheet, to them. I couldn't get a meeting. Well, she saw me and she met me after that presentation. I have a meeting set up for all of the high schools in this particular district to purchase this book. So just the power of a meeting. Like I could potentially, like there are about 4,000 people that would get this book if this happens. So with that one meeting, I potentially got 4,000 sales.
Okay. So with that being said, I know a lot of people is pretty much if you have that personal connection with the person that you're seeing, or if you have a personal connection to the story that they're telling. Mm-hmm. So for example, I know for myself, I always use the story of losing yourself and then finding yourself again through my health and fitness journey, because that's truly my story. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of women tend to forget about themselves. They tend to care about everybody else, but not focus on themselves. And by not focusing on themselves when it comes to their health and fitness, they're actually doing a disservice to their family members. They're doing a disservice to their children, because if they're sick, they're down and out. So if you're taking the time to take care of yourself, making sure that you're active, making sure that you're eating healthy, and making sure that you have the right tools in your life, you're also being the best mother, wife, sister, friend, or whatever you can be for them. How can another mother or a girlfriend or just another woman in general kind of speak to that to other people, if that makes any sense?
First, it takes you listening.
Mm-hmm.
So before telling your story, sometimes you have to listen. And, you know, we're salespeople, so we're taught that we have to talk to make the sale. But the huge part of qualifying is listening and asking those questions. So if I were to have met you on the street and you didn't have Johanna and you didn't have your husband, and like, you know, I didn't know you, how would I know your story? So how you start off that conversation in the most basic of ways and ask one question that is open-ended. So not a yes or no question, but, you know, so if you hear someone complaining, man, I'm just so tired. So why do you think you're tired? Or maybe empathize with them too. Like, yeah, I get tired on days like this too, but you know what? Why are you tired? Just again, having those various things to open up the conversation and letting them speak, because when they speak, they give you all the answers that you need for you to connect with them. Because, for example, I can't connect with you on being a mother because I don't have children. However, I can connect with you in losing myself and giving myself to others and neglecting myself. So I can connect with that, but I wouldn't know that unless you told me. So asking those questions, those probing questions, but, you know, not too probing, we're not Oprah, but asking those things to just kind of get them to open up a little bit and to talk. Because when they talk, they give us all the answers, all the tools that we know that we need in order to make that connection and sale. Okay,
so we're always talking about sales, but with Beachbody, it's not about the sale. It's about building the relationships. It's about building that connection that they actually trust you in order to be a part of their life in that particular aspect. So in regards to that, how would you give someone advice about building new relationships and stronger relationships that have not had success in the past? Because most people who tend to start off with network marketing, they're pretty much introverts. They don't like talking. They're pretty much the ones who are in the corner, and they like to observe before they actually put themselves out there.
Well, the beautiful thing is that you play to all of that. So you treat those people just the same way that you would want to be treated. So I'm an introvert. I'm an introvert with extrovert tendencies. Most people don't know that because I do this. But so starting off with that genuine conversation. So if you like someone's shoes, talk about that. If there's something, there's a conversational entry point, you go there and you start there, and don't really focus in on small talk. Focus in on things that you actually care about. That way you build trust because you're actually genuine. People feel that they feel that energy. So make it about that person. Make it about the actual interest, because if you're about building that relationship, then build the relationship. And then everything else will come into play.
Okay, when it comes to rejection, I know a lot of people have dealt with the rejection from just within their own personal inner circle itself. How were you able to get past that? Because me personally, I know who you are, so I can empathize with the rejection of the family front. How were you able to get over that to continuously be successful and to be the woman that you are today?
Well, first, I was a little angry. I was a little bit angry about the rejection because I'm just like, well, I'm good at this. You've told me I'm good at this. How can you tell me no now? So I said, well, there are 7 billion people in the world. Somebody is going to like what it is that I have to offer. So all it takes is one yes for me to make this happen. So some of that was just kind of going into my introverted self and thinking about just the logic and the numbers of it, saying, all right, well, this person doesn't like it, but someone else will, because that's why there are multiple flavors of everything, because everyone's not going to like that one thing, but there's options for all. So some of that was, again, allowing myself to be a little bit angry and feeling that emotion for what it is. Then also deciding in myself that I don't want to feel like this again. So how can I do that? So that's it's not personal, it's business, and understanding that. So when it comes, if the rejection, whatever that is, if they said no, that's fine. That means someone else is out there and it's better for them, because everything's not for everybody. So first I dealt with that anger. Then I realized that at that point, it's not about me. It's about this particular situation. And just like they said no, someone will say yes. And being persistent, because nothing's easy. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it, right? But it's not. So, but it's all about understanding that you have a market out there that people actually need and they actually want, but they just haven't connected with you yet. They haven't connected with that product yet. So just kind of understanding that, and also understanding what it is that you want and your personal mission. So it's not the sales that drive me. The sales are kind of cool because I like numbers, but it's my mission. I love music. There's a passion in me for music. Even if I'm not getting paid for music, I'm making music, and I dream music in regards to helping people. My job, like my day job is helping and coaching students, helping and coaching people. And I'm called to help and coach people all over the world. In fact, I've recently been commissioned to go do some work in Africa for just this very thing. So this is something that I love, and I would do it for free. So is this something that you love? Are you doing it for the right reasons? Now, if you're doing it for the right reasons, it's easy to get past the anger. It's easy to get past the no. But if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, it's not. Okay. So that's how I've gotten here.
So for those individuals who I know are like, okay, they're in it, they love our products, they love the Shakeology, and they see the big end game because they see the successful top 10 coaches. They see the coaches who are in the Millionaires Club. Yeah, I know a lot of people are really motivated by numbers, but how do you help that one coach who's lost their passion for it? Like, who's lost that, if they didn't get paid to do this, would they still do it anyways? Would they still get up and work out anyways? Would they still get up and help that friend, that family, or that challenger to meet their goals versus just seeing it as just a pure numbers game, or I just want to get to the top 10? How do you help that person to rekindle that spirit again, or that passion within them again?
You ask them, why did you start this to begin with? So you ask them, why did you get into this? And just be real with them, and let them be real with you and not get offended. So first you ask them, why'd you start this? And be ready for whatever they have to tell you. So they might tell you, I did this to get myself in shape and to get discounted products. They might tell you that. They might tell you, I saw these cars, I saw this clothes, I thought this money, and I wanted to get rich quick. They might tell you that too. So first just ask them and see what that's about and see where that came from. And again, let them talk about that. So if they told you it's because they wanted to get rich quick, you might need to tell them this is not a get rich quick scheme. You can get rich, yes, if you stay dedicated and motivated. So you would need to find your passion. I don't know how you would connect with that person, because that's not why you got into it. But for the person who got into it for the reason of they just wanted to get themselves in shape, and they wanted discounted products because They know this was a change that they needed to make, and they wanted to help others do this too. But, you know, they're getting a little discouraged by trying to pitch it to other people. Remind them of why they got into it, because they got into this one for themselves. So at the end of the day, it's for their well-being, for their family, for their son, their daughter, their husband, their wife. And then if they help someone on the way, if they help just one person, if they inspire just one person to get up and do one sit-up, they've made a difference. They've done their job. And that's all that it takes. So if you can remind them of that, then I'd say start there. You know, just ask them why did they start, and start there.
Which is very true, because I know with a lot of coaches that you see a lot of coaches come in and you see a lot of coaches come out, but you also see those coaches who actually stick to it. They're in the trenches. They're continuing to keep going. Mm-hmm. But for those people, like, this is nothing but a pyramid scheme, and you actually have to combat that type of rejection. Mm-hmm. How do you overcome something like that? Because being an individual or being a coach that's within the company itself, it's not a pyramid scheme. Because if you think about it from a corporate standpoint, with our corporate jobs, you're working your position at this very level. It could be level 7, level 6, or whatever. But there's still somebody at the top that's still getting rich off of your hard work each and every day. Mm-hmm. So how do you actually deal with someone who comes at you with that particular rejection or that particular opposition?
Well, then I talk to them about franchises. So for a franchise, you purchase a franchise, and all the sales that you make, a percentage of that goes to corporate office. The person who owns it, they get a percentage, but you know, it kind of trickles up like that. Beachbody is a mobile franchise. That's what it is. And I would explain it in that fashion, because that's essentially what it is. The only difference is you don't have a building, you don't have burgers and fries. I mean, I keep going back to that because I might want some unhealthy food right now, but but essentially it's a franchise. It's a mobile franchise that you get to mold into whatever you want. And for those franchises, because I've been to those franchise meetings, I've entertained some of those. So for those franchise meetings, what they do is they link you up with that main coach. The coach tells you what the structure is, what the percentages are for the royalties and things of that nature, the discounts that you get. They also tell you, so this is how you should market. This is where you should place things in order to maximize on your business. And in fact, we'll even help you shop for the proper real estate. Or would you like to purchase someone else's franchise that is looking to get out? So for someone who has to combat that, then I would explain to them, this is a franchise. This is what this is like. Now, there are pyramid schemes out there that look a lot like this, and they're called network marketing. For most of them, there's no exchange for it. The whole way that you make money is simply by making people buy into it, and there's no real product. Mm-hmm. The difference here, you guys have a product. So it's not just the concept of fitness, but you actually have size, you have chisel and hammer. Is that correct?
Hammer and chisel.
My bad. So you have hammer and chisel. You have these fitness products that are there. You have Shakeology. You have all these products that are there, like physical products that you see all over the internet. Like I can't count how many people that I've seen with these various products. So it's not like those pyramid schemes where I'm gonna pay you $200, and then if I bring 8 more people in, then I'm gonna get this much money back. Mm-hmm. That's not the case for this.
Okay, because I know with a lot of people, they're like, well, this is just another pyramid scheme or whatever. So you go through that whole motion of, how is this a pyramid scheme where you're actually getting a tangible product? You actually have your Shakeology, you have the support in making sure you get your health and fitness goals, or getting to your health and fitness goals. You have your fitness program that you've actually selected by talking to your coach and identifying the areas that you need work in. So I know with a lot of people, they're trying to deal with, how do they stand out from the crowd? How do they become that individual for people to be attracted to them versus being attracted to the super skinny, completely in shape? Because we all know everybody didn't start off in shape. If they did, okay, fine, great. However, how do you stand out as an individual? How do you reach the masses but still be you without forming into someone else? If that makes any sense. Like basically forming your own personal brand.
So one, identify who you are and what's important to you. So that's important. So just like for any product, for product management, you identify, what is this product? What are we selling? What are the core values? And what is it that we want the public to know that is our core value? So do that for yourself. So that's 1. 2, stay true to that. 3, marketing is all about the awareness of you and your product. So figuring out, all right, so what are your core values, and what is something that you notice that people seem to gravitate towards? So for me, people tend to be gravitated towards, they gravitate towards my candor. They tell me that I'm enthusiastic whenever I do things, so they like that. And then also they tell me I have this Southern charm or charisma that is about me. So those are the things that people tend to notice. So I say, all right, well, they like candor, they like the charisma, they like the charm. So I need to hone in on those and then focus in on that. So find out whatever it is. And of course, sometimes you have to ask people, because we don't know these things. I don't know why people like me. So ask people that you trust that have nothing to lose. So what are things that attract people to me? Why do you believe that people like me and gravitate towards me? So find out what that is. Next, find out what is it again that you're specifically passionate about, or what got you into it. So for me, my niche is overcoming adversity and goal setting. So that's kind of that's my thing. So I tend to target people who have those specific areas of need. So what is it that got you into it? So are you looking for people who have lost themselves in trying to please the world, and you let yourself go in the process? So then you need to focus in your marketing strategy on people who have lost themselves. Next, whatever that marketing strategy is, you need to be a little bit better than your competition. And when I say better than your competition, I don't mean better than them as in you work the hardest, you do all of that. I mean the presentation. So have those professional photos done. And if you don't necessarily have the money to do that, I'm sure you have a friend who has a smartphone that has an amazing camera. Look up online, what are good angles, what's good lighting. And some tips for that is you kind of want the camera just up a little bit higher than you. Natural light is great. And making your marketing materials look a little bit better than your competition as well. So, because people are gravitated towards things that are well put together. I mean, think about when you go to a place and your server at your table is, if they're well put together and they have a friendly smile, you're more likely to tip them than versus someone who's not put together, who does not have a smile, who doesn't get your order right. So make sure that your package is well put together. Also be visible as much as possible. Utilize those hashtags. If you're utilizing social media, your hashtags are going to be your friend. That's how random people who may not know you but are looking for the service or the solution that you're offering will find you. I got my first deal on Twitter, my first music deal on Twitter from a hashtag. I cannot disclose that number, but there were about 5 figures and a comma, and I was just out of college getting some nice little numbers in my life. So utilize those hashtags and utilize that at the right times of the day. So finding out what it is that's unique to you, finding out why people gravitate you. So something that's already a part of you. So you don't have to fake the funk, because that's key. Like if you're just you, people gravitate towards that even more. Packaging yourself in a proper way. So taking the extra time, taking the extra effort, because whether we like it or not, people are shallow and they gravitate towards that. They don't want to dig deep through that. They want to see, is this a well put together box that is coming towards them? So those are some of the things.
Okay. And I noticed that you stated stuff about presenting yourself on social media, and that hashtags are pretty much your friend when it comes to marketing yourself on social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram. In some cases, it could be Facebook. How would you, I know we have to be visible, and the basic rule of thumb is 3 to 5 times a day when it comes to your social media presence. Would you recommend someone being more visible than that, or how would you recommend an individual to pretty much break it down on multiple social media platforms?
I would say 3 to 5 is a good number. I wouldn't say more than that, because then what you do is you start to saturate the market in a way that people then become numb to you, and they start to want to ignore you because you're everywhere. You're kind of like, Beyonce when she was in her peak and she was everywhere. You go into a cell phone store and you're her, and you're like, oh, I can't escape you, Beyonce. To the left, to the left. So 3 to 5 times is good. I would say be mindful of the times that you post. So whatever your time zone is, I'd say maybe post one in the morning between 7 to 8. Another one probably about noonish, noon to 1. That's a good time. And then after that, between 4 to 6. Those are high engagement, high visibility times. These are times when people are going to work, leaving work, they're on their lunch break. These are times that people are on social media. In regards to hashtags, so you would want to put things like fitness, workout, maybe even some of the solutions that you're offering. So weight loss or self-confidence, self-esteem, raise self-esteem, Operation Finding Me, just like finding those things, but then also whatever your particular name is too. So if for example, my first name and also my name in business is LaToya Rene. So for everything, I try to hashtag LaToya Rene, so that goes alongside with motivational speaking, so that whenever people type up motivational speaking, my name starts to pop up. So that helps with what's called SEO, or search engine optimization. So that helps with that. So if you utilize that, doing it those certain times, I'd say 3 times is actually, that's more than enough for people to see if you're doing it at the right times and utilizing those hashtags. And making sure that whatever you post, like it's fun and it's engaging, and pay attention to what engages people more than others. The things that you notice that get more engagement, focusing on that.
Okay. Speaking of engagement, I know you've actually been very successful in how you've created your engagement with all of your posts that you do out there on social media. How did you actually get that engagement to steadily increase? I know it's pretty much paying attention to what you post, but what were some of the things that you actually started to look at more so versus, if you get what I'm saying, that makes any sense?
Yes. So I paid attention to what time and what days of the week I was posting. And I also noticed that when I was consistently posting, the engagement would stay steady, and then it would increase up as I stayed consistent. I paid attention to what type of content I was posting. How long was the post? Was it a lengthy post? If it was a lengthy post, what was it? So I noticed on occasion, like I'll post random conversations with my mother. That's a little bit of a longer post. People tend to, they like to read that. So they don't care how long it is, and they'll read it all the way through, and I'll get 60 likes for that. Whereas maybe something motivational, it can only be 2 to 3 lines, but that'll get just as much engagement. So I try to be mindful of what it is, because people say that they don't like to read, but they do like to read as long as they're interested. So if you're going to write something this long, make sure it's interesting. If you're going to write something that makes people think, you might want to keep that a little bit shorter. So just paying attention to those various trends. But consistency, I think, was the main thing I noticed, that when I regularly do that. Also, I noticed that when I engage with other people's posts as well. So I try to focus in and interact with other folks, because that increases me popping up on other timelines as well. Same thing for Twitter and Instagram.
Okay, so just so we can try to wrap everything up, what are the top 3 tips that you actually give a new coach starting out their health and fitness journey or health and fitness business journey?
So the first thing is know why you're in it. You need to know why you're in it, because knowing that's going to keep you going when you get a bunch of no's. That's going to keep you moving. The second thing is be persistent. You are going to get no's, no matter how good you are, no matter how great your product is. You could be walking around with a stack of gold, solutions to end world hunger and all the water to clean up Flint, Michigan. But someone's going to say no for one reason or another. So be prepared for that rejection, and just be persistent. Right when you're about to give up, that's when the floodgates of success will open up. The third thing I would say is make a logical plan. because it's about numbers. Even though you're in it for your heart, this is about numbers, and you have to sometimes take your emotion out of it so you can make a logical structure for that. So know why you're in it. That's huge. Know why you're in it. Be persistent, and learn when to take your emotions out of it so that you can make logical decisions.
Okay. In regards to the word persistent, I just want to just wrap this up here a little bit. How can someone be persistent without coming off salesy or pushy?
Feel the conversation. So if that person, if they're done with it, listen to that. So understand that they're finished with that at that moment, and respect that. However, if they have not said no, then they haven't said no. It's not a no yet until they say no. But be mindful of it. Feel it out. So use your spidey sense, the same type of sense that you have in regular conversation. Utilize that. So just because someone says no today, 3 months down the road, they may be interested then. So just kind of keeping that in your mind. So being persistent, when I say that, I don't necessarily mean that with a specific individual. I mean that as a whole, because that person, if that person they're not interested in that moment, you don't want to turn them off to you as an individual. So then that shuts off potential sales. That actually shuts off the relationship, and you don't want to do that. What I mean by persistent is when someone tells you no, don't be so heartbroken that you've given up on the reason why you started. That's what I mean.
Okay. Thank you so much for actually spending this afternoon with us to actually give your tips on how you've been able to overcome adversity, as well as just how you've been able to just continuously keep going, being persistent, and becoming a successful woman in your field, because I know a lot of people can actually connect with that. So first of all, thank you so much for spending this afternoon with us. And I actually look forward to doing this once a quarter with you for our team, and hopefully that the calls will actually continue to keep growing and that people can actually take advantage of those little bits of jewels of knowledge that you actually have to give everyone.
All right. Sounds good to me. Thank you so much for having me, Jasmine.
Thank you.
Toodles.